Why aren't you leveraging LinkedIn pods? Tune into this podcast to learn more about pods and why they're becoming very prevalent on LinkedIn. Hi, my name is Stephen Joseph, and I'm the president and founder of EvoStream Communications. I'm also a family man, a runner, an entrepreneur, and most importantly, I'm your host on this podcast, The Modern Enterprise, where we talk about subjects from business development and entrepreneurship to sales and even current events. Now, on today's podcast, I want to follow up to some things I learned in response to my audience's feedback from an article I wrote about frauds I'm sensing are on LinkedIn, some of which may even be in my network. Now, some of the comments indicated what I had sort of suspected, and that is a term that I wasn't familiar with, but they're called pods. And really what they are is a way for LinkedIn users to rapidly grow their following and their engagement on their content. So what I noticed is that certain individuals are gaining traction on LinkedIn very, very quickly. Now, of course, some of these algorithms I don't dispute are very funky, and you can get lucky. You can put the time in. I know I have. I wouldn't say I've gotten lucky, but usually that doesn't happen. Traction takes time, and if you're not paying for ads, you may have trouble getting over a certain threshold of engagement. I've heard LinkedIn can throttle you from time to time, and like any of the social media platforms, they seem to have a mind of their own. Now, we all know that. I think we all agree to play in that game. What I didn't know, and maybe I'm just naive, is that there are certain individuals that are boosting their engagement, and they're able to do this from what are called pods. Now, pods, which I actually am familiar with because I did look into this when I was approached by somebody to join a pod. I didn't really know what the technical name was for this, and I didn't even know if this was frowned upon or violated the LinkedIn terms and conditions. But basically what a pod is, I've learned, is sort of a group that agrees to endorse each other and to share each other's posts and then promote those posts, like those posts, comment and engage on those posts. And there's different levels of engagement. It seems as though you could set up like a Discord channel and you could all share your posts, and then you could actually provide the comments you want to be given on your posts, or you can allow members of that community to post autonomously. Now, I get it. I understand how people are really grabbing to get, traction on LinkedIn. It can be frustrating if in the past put a lot of effort in, you feel like you're doing all the right things. I myself believe that I do a lot of the fundamentals really well on LinkedIn, but you're not getting traction, right? Or you're not getting the traction you would hope to get. So part of that's because most of us have this false anticipation that we're going to become influencers or have massive adoption. That may never happen, and that's okay. But the other part of it is that there are people out there cheating the system, and those are the people that we expect possibly to be able to compete with. So what really bothers me here, and I want your feedback on this, is not only are these individuals falsifying the amount of engagement they're getting, they're using that engagement, or what people call as social proof, evidence that they are interesting or they have expertise or that the messaging in their content is meaningful, is being used and leveraged to sell you a product or service. In a lot of cases, that product or service might be a speaking engagement, an ebook, a technique for health and wellness, etc. But what I've noticed is some folks are going a step further, and they're actually selling courses to increase engagement on LinkedIn. Now, that's really, really a stretch to say that you're going to demonstrate the value that you can create for others when that demonstration is a facade, it's a fraud. It's gotten me a little bit interested about certain people within my own network, and I start to look at what does their engagement look like? What are the signs? And I'm starting to research this and want your feedback again as an audience to see how do we detect and spot these LinkedIn perpetrators. One of the things I noticed right away is folks will have 20, 30,000 followers, but almost none of the comments are from their first connections, right? If you have that many followers and you have a lot of first connections on LinkedIn, my assumption is those are the people that would engage first in your content. If you look at my posts, almost all of the people usually that start the engagement are my first connections. Now, LinkedIn may then promote that to second and third connections if the content is tracking. I've seen certain posts or articles I've written actually track for over a year or two. Even though it's not getting 100 comments, it'll slowly get comments over time. What's interesting about the comments that I notice in these posts are that it's instant traction, meaning I never see the post when it has 2, 3, 4 comments and watch it grow. What I see is the post immediately has 150 comments. It's got, 1,000 likes. And I find that very odd because usually that is cultivated through the community, which I'm part of in some of these cases, and their engagement. So I'm curious to see if anyone out there has any more tips, tricks, or insights into this trend of false engagement on LinkedIn. And as always, I encourage you to leave that feedback in the comments section. If you enjoyed this post, give it a like or share it with your network. That helps me to create more content and engagement with my audience, and authentic engagement at that. So please also feel free to direct message me. My full contact information is in my LinkedIn profile, and I love to hear from you, my audience. So thanks again, and I look forward to our next conversation together.